Jimmy's got the mic, the crowd goes wild, talking dreams we chased since we were both just a child. Entrepreneurs' heartbeats like a midnight train. In the game of sales, ain't no room for the plane.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday to everybody. Welcome back to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. Live this morning on KGCI Radio, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, some other places. I don't know where all those places are.
All worldwide. Right?
That's right. That's right. So got an in-studio guest today. I'm very excited about that. When we get somebody in studio, it's even greater. So, and whether you're watching this now or listening to us later, you can catch the Elite Real Estate Podcast every Friday morning live at 7:30 a.m. But again, wherever you find podcasts is where you can find the Elite Real Estate Podcast. So again, super excited this morning. I am joined in studio this morning by my man, Justin Barton. Thank you, sir, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's great to be here.
Yeah, excited, man. And you had a little trip to get here this morning.
Yeah, the flight left at 5 a.m. and then just landed about 10 minutes ago. So it's great to be here with you, my friend, and I appreciate the invite. And
man,
long time no see.
I know, right?
Did we just see each other?
We did. We just got to see each other at a Real Producers event.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, and
there was some smoke.
There was while we were on live, there was some fire going. I don't know what was happening there. But the tacos.
It was the podcast. It was podcast is what it was.
We were fire, right?
Yeah.
We were fire. But Tara does such an amazing job with the Real Producers thing, man. It's
phenomenal.
Yeah. Every event is like, I tell her, I'm like, it's like you put on a wedding like a couple times a month.
Oh, right. You know, right?
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And we're actually working with them. So our system and stuff like that is really helping them with their company. So
yeah. And that's when you and I talked the other day, I was like, we got to get into this system. Talk about that. We're going to dive into that.
A little bit.
We're going to dive into that because I know we've got listeners on the call-in line.
Okay.
Watching us live because we're getting comments coming in already.
Okay. All right. Good
Fadi, it says good morning. And then Al Abdallah also says good morning. So we've got people watching already and people ready to go. So
here we go. Good morning. Let's get started.
So just and from Indy too. Mindy from Indy is in this morning as well.
Hey, awesome.
So the good thing is again, networking events, right? Real Producers event. You and I have met a few times at different events, whatever. But I was doing the podcast live from the Real Producers event the other day, and I'm like, hey, you want to jump? But you were like, can I get on? I'm like, come on, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. You were asking questions about the podcast. I'm like, want to go do it right now?
Yeah. And here we are. We're live.
That's right. Right. A couple days later, and here we are. So, but yeah, man, Steve, is it Unruh?
Yeah, Steve Unruh. Yeah.
He says, good morning, Justin.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Are you nervous about what he might say?
No, man. I mean,
I know I'm nervous about when some of my friends pop on.
Really?
Like,
okay. Well, let's see where this goes.
I get to filter some things out.
There we go.
Yeah. But yeah, like how important to you and your business, like in building out the business that you're building, is these networking events? Like how important is that to you?
It's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 14. You know, it's very important, and I think it's important for everyone. I mean, when you can make the time, I attend a good majority of networking events, and I'll say this, that sometimes in the land of convenience, if we do the inconvenient thing, which is attend events at times because of scheduling or whatever, we tend to realize that one of those contacts or even a couple of those contacts that you network with is either going to be a great referral partner or be one that brings you business and vice versa. So you're able to, provide value. The reason I like to attend so many is because, I want to be able to bring value to people, whether it be connecting them or providing connection, right? But really connecting them with other people that I know. So if I was to, go to a networking event and network with you, I want to try to connect you with other people that I'm connected with. So that's huge for me, not just to, tell you what I do or the services that, we may provide or offer, but also to say like, hey, Jimmy, I know so-and-so and so-and-so that'd be a really great fit for what you're trying to do, or you might, be able to utilize their resources as well.
Yeah. It's interesting because like I'm a big believer in that too. Like, how can I connect people?
Yes.
Right. Like, because can I use your services? Probably.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right. But can somebody else use your services more than I?
Right. And who do I know that is a small business owner, solopreneur that needs to have those connections
Yes.
to other individuals that, maybe they couldn't attend, but it's like, hey, it's good to be a good referral source to other people, and just, like, no expectation, just go out there and just refer people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I go to a networking event, it's not so much how many people can I connect with, it's like how many people can I connect to refer to, or
Right.
to refer with, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
met 3 or 4 people, was I able to provide them 3 or 4 referrals each.
Oh man, like you're hitting on such a good spot, and especially because of as we're building out these businesses. Like, so we're gonna get
Yeah.
into your connection and talk about
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
what is like when you started building this business? Like, how long have you guys been in business?
So I've been in business since 2008.
Okay.
And, obviously, I started at 22, so I'm still in my 30s. So for all you doing the quick math out there, still in the 30s. So, but when we started in 2008, we were involved in more of a telecommunications scale. And then I've owned a few businesses since then and during that tenure. But what started to really happen is 2021, technology started really advancing. AI is coming to the table. And, we're taking these platforms and the framework and then, had it internally and was like, hey, we can help a lot of small business owners with this.
Yeah.
So let's, let us scale and help automate their business. So we basically built our own development team, support team, branded it all, and then issued it out. So about, say about almost 2 years,
Okay.
open to the, other business owners in public.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but internally about 3 or 4.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that about 21, right?
Yeah.
Because in your mind, because technology's been your jam, right? That's your sweet spot,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But how fast did COVID push technology?
So I think Zoom scaled a lot. I don't,
Yeah.
I think in 2019, so we were in telecom in 2019, and, Zoom just wasn't that popular. I mean, it was, there was like GoToMeeting and a few others and all this stuff. But now with, when I think the pandemic hit, we all learned to connect virtually.
Yeah.
And people that never done it before learned really quick, and so, and then on top of that, with just different forms of technology and utilizing those abilities to, advance even with, apps. And I mean, I think podcasts kind of, I mean, not that they
Yeah.
weren't popular before, but I think it did amplify it.
Yeah.
We had a lot of time. We had a lot of time to
Yeah.
ourselves for a while, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I know.
how can we connect and not be near
But
each
not
other?
connect.
You know,
Right.
yeah. It'd be, so
Yeah. No, that's a good thing. So during COVID, I did this thing. It was called real estate and drinks.
okay,
Right.
nice,
Yeah. So it's kind of how I started down this path.
yeah,
Because I would just do a Facebook Live like on Wednesday,
okay,
and I would have like a bourbon, and
that's interesting.
you
Okay,
could talk to me about real estate or bourbon, like
okay,
and it was like I was doing
sometimes
it
both.
yeah, sometimes both, right? Or let's drink bourbon before we buy real estate. I don't know,
Okay,
whatever.
yeah. We might overpay. No,
But yeah. But how that technology has sped everything up, I think, is incredible.
same, yes, and it's there's definitely some things that in technology are just advancing more and more rapidly. We're seeing that where what used to take 5-10 years now takes and then it took a year or two, now is taking a month or two.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take a break for a month, you might come back and be like, there's 17 other apps and different ways to do things. I mean, I had we had some advancements with AI avatars and all sorts of things, right? So
Sure.
if you see me walking and talking, that's my AI avatar. That's not me. I am not that choreographed. So
I love it.
Walk and say the right words at the same time. I don't know
Yeah.
about that. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm that good.
And chew gum, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, like and that's because of AI, right? I mean,
correct. Yeah. It's well, and that's the thing is we kind of touched on this the other day is utilizing AI effectively in your business is nothing to be scared of.
Yeah.
I get it. I completely understand. I took a leap out there in like I think 22 and attended a class and learned more and more about AI. And I will say this, and I shared it I think the other day is that AI is not going to replace you.
Right.
It's not going to happen. The computer didn't replace you. The cell phone didn't replace you. A lot of different apps and mobility didn't replace you. AI is not going to replace you, but or make you unemployed. But not knowing it, just like not knowing those technologies, will make you unemployable.
Right.
So we need to, just take some basic steps. That's it. No, you don't got to become a tech guru,
Yeah.
right? But but learning it and knowing how to apply it simply and proficiently is gonna really help you in your business.
Yeah. Well, that's, as we're talking through AI and all the things, and I think we talked about that the other day and it hit on it again, but so many people are so scared of it.
I get
And,
it.
and I was I had an event yesterday, too. And one of the things I told them was like, look, if you don't adapt to it and start using it, it's going to hurt you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I said, and I've compared it to, I'm old enough though, right? Like
Okay.
I'm 52. So to say, I remember when the internet came out.
Yeah.
And people were saying the same thing about the internet.
Right.
Like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job.
Remember 1999?
Yeah.
Remember it was like all going to shut down
Oh,
or
everything was
crash
gonna
or
shut
something?
down. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that
I don't know if it's been delayed or what.
Yeah, that New Year's Eve. I remember everybody like, what's going to happen at midnight?
And then it was like, no, 2001. And we met
Yeah.
2000. Like, okay, let's just
The
everyone
Mayan
like
calendar, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it the Mayan
Something,
calendar?
yeah.
That was the end of the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it went up to 2012 or I don't know. I couldn't keep up with it, but
Yeah.
but to your point, yeah, it's very interesting. And how do you feel today? Like, you just, did the age claim, which is great.
Yeah.
But here we are with two computers, two laptops, podcast streaming live on, nationwide right now.
Yeah.
And so that's an example of, you applied, learning and technology into one and then all your experience. And then now here we are. Right.
Yeah.
So if, I like to say, if I can do it, I think anyone can.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Like if I can do all this and stream to all these platforms at one time, pull up a phone thing over here, run this board.
Yeah.
Like
you're doing great.
Yeah. Thank you. And again, but like if I can do it,
right?
there's a lot of people out there that can do it.
And I like to make I statements when it comes to these types of things. But so if I look at if I can have myself recorded in an AI avatar, so can you.
Yeah.
Can do it. It's totally fine. Now you have to surround yourself with trusted professionals, right? I think
Correct.
that's important. And the other thing is we were at an event the other day too, another Real Producers event, the one for Oakland County. And some of the things that the panelists were talking about was a really great conversation. But they were talking about, talking in front of people. I'm like, you do realize like I sound how I sound and you sound how you sound and we look how we look. So what's the deal? Like, let's just do it. Let's just, get out in front and say something. Like you look and talk this way anyway. So you might as well just do it. Right.
Yeah.
And, don't be afraid to go live on social media and don't be afraid to, record that video and take that step because that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 100%. And I feel like sometimes people are trying to look like for that perfection.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're trying to say, oh, this video is not perfect.
Right.
And I'm like, well, there isn't a perfect video.
Yeah.
Right?
Done is better than perfect.
Hey, boom. Thank you.
Every time.
Thank you.
Every time.
Yes.
So it's
oh gosh.
we can make improvements. So this is something that we talk with, or I talk with my about all the time is like, listen, done is better than perfect because we don't know what we need to fix.
Right.
Until we do it. So we're going to do it. There's things that I've done in business that I look back and I'm like, I've done that better.
Yeah.
But if I never started, like you asked me this morning, like, getting out of bed, it's like, you got to get up.
Yeah.
You got to get up and get moving. Right now, I had to do that a little bit earlier. There was a book. I think the book club was called the 5 a.m. Club. And I'm gonna be real. About a year and a half ago, I looked at them like those people are different.
Yeah.
I mean,
they are.
They're probably great people, but I'm not those people. And now I'm getting up at 4:30. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know about reading that book. I might do the Audible, right? But but that's about it.
And again, like it is amazing that how we can adapt to things, right?
Yes.
And so when you got started, like how did you end up where you're at? Right? How did
how did I get here?
Yeah. How did you get? I mean, I know you drove here this morning.
I did. Yeah.
We were gonna helicopter you.
I would. You know what? I always take a helicopter. If I visit a city, I always like to take a helicopter tour around the place.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. I do. It's weird.
It's
Maybe
great.
I'm different like that.
But we need to get. If anybody has a helicopter,
Mm-hmm.
The Elite Real Estate Podcast could use a helicopter just to get people in and out.
Yeah, I mean we're we're expanding. We're going. We're nationwide.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're gonna go global.
Instead of doing this virtual in, we're gonna flying people in. I like it. No, so question was, how did I get started?
Yeah.
So if I'll predate it. Went back to 2008. I was 22, and I was working for a company. I just said, it's accidental. I was like, hey, I want to make more money.
Yeah.
And so in that industry, it was, if you were an employee and you could go independent contractor. And I was like, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
all you gotta do is have a vehicle and stuff like that. So I did that. And the company, they want to, I think, retain some employees, right? So they were like, I was like, well, I'll just go work for someone else then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm already took the leap,
Yeah.
already here. So we started calling people and worked for some local retailers that did telecommunications, such as Dish Network, DirecTV.
Okay.
And that's really where I started in telecom, is installing those types of systems, and went from about myself, another person, to about 100 people across 6 states. And by the time 2019 hit,
No kidding.
yeah, yeah. So scaled that. I don't say it to be impressive, but it's just to impress upon. Like, I've been in those situations where I was using Google Sheets before Google Sheets was popular.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we were like, we got to send data. How do
Yeah.
we get reporting? KPIs and all this NPS scores, all this
Right,
stuff, and
right.
telecommunications, like walking into people's houses, installing systems. You remember that when it was popular, have 4
Yeah.
or 5 TVs hooked up to Dish Network or DirecTV for Sunday Ticket.
Yeah, we're
know?
still selling houses that still have the dishes on them.
Yeah.
That nobody uses,
We were
like-
the people that ruined those. What was it?
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
They stuck them in the roof.
Yeah. We
now,
sealed it.
Yeah.
Those are sealed. But we had, I mean, people on roofs and ladders and driving, and it was a thing.
Yeah.
So we had a whole operation, and that industry kind of shifted. And in that tenure, there was a company that is one of the largest insurance carriers for all the cell phones in the country. And they came to us in like 2015. They're like, "Hey, we want to repair some cell phones. Like, you can do that.
Yeah.
Like, you can open this thing." Like, yeah, I'll go. All right, sounds
Yeah.
good. Let's do it. And we did.
Yeah.
And so we started repairing. That was part of that division. And so that industry again shifted. They made some shifts, and so we pivoted. And I started getting involved in some real estate investment. I owned a franchise as well.
Okay.
And we did some development with that, and then we sold that off in like 2023. But doing a couple businesses, and we had an internal system, and that's really where connection was born inside of that. So being able to scale and automate process for business owners was huge. So going from 2008 and always kind of having that processes and technology, and I just remember the technology that we have today. Like, we don't even have to work a quarter as hard as we did back then.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just with all the stuff, if we utilize it effectively and efficiently. And there's so many options and abilities out there for people to take a quick course, YouTube, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything now. I mean, if I don't, or Chat GPT, or Gronk, whatever one you prefer, or, there's a couple others, but, Gemini and all them. But, when you put things into like a GPT or, AI, it's going to give you info back.
Yeah.
So our main focus is the garbage in, garbage out, right? So how do we empower people, individuals, not just business owners, but just individuals, right? How do we empower them with the ability to learn new things?
Yeah.
Well, the first step is to learn something that can help you learn new things. Right. So there's the people element when networking and all that stuff is important, but there's also this element that says, okay, so how do I use Chat GPT? Or the famous thing is, I'll get a response back to say, hey, I used Chat GPT, but it didn't work. Oh, okay. Well, it has a 200 IQ. So I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that this is what it has.
Yeah.
So if we got a response that we didn't like, it could be, maybe that's what we put into it, right? Maybe, maybe it's not the microphone. Maybe it is my singing voice.
Me, yeah.
It could be my voice. So I'm not a singer, but all the microphones are broke, Jimmy. That's really the problem.
Yeah.
Was. I didn't have the right
Yeah.
microphone. No. So
kind of like the baseball player that's like, these bats don't work.
These bats don't work. All of a sudden there's Cabrera, like 500 plus home runs later, using the same bat I could swing. So it's all good. No, now, but back to that so it comes back down to power prompting, right? And helping individuals understand, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So it's important, a tip of the day, right, is to say, give it context, right? And give it an audience, and give it an explanation, and then tell it what you want. So you are, tell AI what it is that you need help with. Like, you're an expert at podcasts, and marketing for podcasts, and this is my audience. This is the result that I want. So context, result, explanation, audience, tone, and then expand. It's the create method, right? So you're gonna, you should have about 4 or 5 sentences before you hit enter on that prompt. And when you hit enter on that prompt with that type of description, the response or the feedback you're gonna get is gonna be game changing. And then now with 4.0, so $20 a month, 4.0, it's going to give you suggestions after it gives you the result. Would you also like? And I just keep hitting yes. You know what I mean? And then I'll expand on that a little bit too, or correct it, guide it. Because again, like we talked about with the AIQ, right? You're the professional, you're the human, you're the person with the experience, right? AI is the person or the assistant that's there with the IQ, the resources, the quickness to be able to pull all this data. So it's almost like in a familiar industry, there's lawyers, paralegals, and they're my great team.
Yep.
Right. So the same thing is that real estate. You have there's realtors, transaction coordinators, right?
Yeah.
And there's a good pair. So now you're pairing those together. You don't need to look to replace anyone. Okay. That's not what AI is here to do. AI is here to assist. And when you use it effectively, then we're able to provide that value into the business to where your individuals that were doing remedial tasks can now be expanded upon to do revenue generating activities for your business.
Got it.
And so that's going to be a huge way to kind of rapidly grow and expand, and then have a system in place that you can utilize and scale effectively.
Oh man, lot to unpack there. We're gonna get into
one
that.
piece at a time. Do you have any callers? No.
Well,
phones are ringing.
Yeah, I have 2 things that stood out to me in that. One, you said it has a 200 IQ,
right?
And that is, we talked about that a little bit the other day.
Yeah,
but that is pretty incredible to me to think that's ChatGPT already. Has a 200 IQ.
It's growing
and is growing.
Yeah,
and because of all the information that's getting dumped into it every day, right? And it's just learning more and more and more. How far do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have that's above my pay grade. We need to get that one person on there. I mean, I created an action figure, Jimmy. That's as far as my pay grade goes.
I know. I've got some action figures. I got the action figures. I got a couple, like me on a horse.
Yeah, there you go.
What I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
Like, these
I just
great.
like the improvements,
Yeah, it gives me a little chiseled jaw. Like,
Just tone it up a little bit for help me out. No, but that's a great question, and I do think that and again, maybe it's not right at 200, but I'm sure it's pretty close, if not already there or exceeding it, because it's growing and it's learning and it's developing, and I think that there's probably a cap, but at the end of the day, it's about providing that ability. So I think that when AI it continues to advance, and I don't again, I know we joked about this. I don't think it's going to become self-aware, right? That's that might be a thing. There's some movies about that, but
that's a little scary part.
Yeah. It's like, well, so it knows what I'm thinking. That's
right,
and it will learn you. It will learn you.
It will. That's the amazing part to me, is because now, like I'm coaching and teaching agents on how to use AI, right? Like,
that's great.
Again, 52, and I'm figuring this out. But
you're awesome.
But again, like, it's the prompts, right?
Yes.
And that's the second thing I wanted to bring up. You said create. What is that?
Yeah. So I did not create it.
Right.
So
no, that's fine.
Another individual did. Great person. They have I think it's 1000XAI as a company, and then Terrence McMahon's is great individual. But the create method is context, result, explanation, audience, tone, and then expand. And if you follow that method, so it's like, asking a question like, hey, can you give me a design in Canva? Right. That's a prompt.
Yeah.
Or you can say, you're an expert Madison Avenue marketing expert, agent, or whatever you want to say, and that you specialize in creating designs in Canva. Right. Now I need a Facebook post, but I'm telling you what it is, right? This result I want. And it's going to be for this audience. So I'm going to be trying to reach this audience. And then the explanation is, I want to design to this, and this, you kind of, you're using your creativity now.
Sure.
You're telling it, you're putting into it, and then you're saying in a friendly tone or inspiring tone or an encouraging tone. And then you wait for the prompt. Then you do the expand if you need to. With 4.0, you probably don't even need the E anymore, but we're just going to leave it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Sure.
So you could say,
recreate
this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it spells it. We're going to keep the E in, maybe. So, but, at the end of the day, it's going to be about what you put in is what you get out. So the more you tell it about, and now you're also, so you're a top producing real estate agent, right? That specializes in luxury listings in the California area, right? So now
Yep.
you're giving it context. You're giving it, and what result do you want? And then the audience. So now it's kind of like, oh, there's an audience in California. The
Yeah.
audience ain't in Michigan, because there is difference,
Yeah.
right? And so there is different home types. So AI knows this
Yeah.
because it's the data that's already available to it. So utilizing that method is gonna really help, 1000x your AI ability really
Yeah.
fast.
Oh man, I love that. That create. Now I'm gonna.
I'll share it with you.
I'm gonna borrow it.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, it's good. Great method.
It is. It is. And again, it's again, it is like you said. You said it too, and I'll hit on it again. But like, it's garbage in, garbage out,
Mhm.
right? So if you're just randomly throwing things in there,
Right.
with no intention of doing anything with it, it's not gonna. It's gonna. You're almost dumbing it down.
Yes, and then it learns that.
Right.
So again, it's like I was talking with an individual. They were, hey man, my Instagram feed or my Facebook feed is this, and this. And I was like, well, that's what you're shopping on.
Yeah.
It's learning you. Like, now the great thing is not only can you unlearn that, but it can relearn. So the same thing is like the algorithm on Facebook. Like, watch what you're following, watch what you're clicking on, watch what you're stopping on, because it's going to learn you.
Yeah.
And then you're going to see more of those things in front of you. Now, if you want to change that, now it also knows demographics and geographics, but if you want to change that, then just start changing your following, changing what stories you're watching and what things you're liking and, thumb stopping on. And it will learn probably before the end of the day. Like, you know what I mean? It's not going
Yeah.
to take 3 weeks for it to start switching your algorithm up.
Well, and as we're talking about it in front of this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, or clicking websites. I mean,
Yeah.
so when you click a website and that's connected to your phone or your Google account or your iCloud account, you're going to see an ad on Facebook.
Yeah.
And there's some strategy that we do on our side for that media buying. I mean, it's a real thing. It's called digital behaviors. But, back in, I know I can ADD. So back in the lane of the AI, right, is utilizing that create method is kind of like a foundational concept for, beginners or even intermediate users. So people that have, higher experiences, like, oh, I already know that. Well, yeah, but not everyone does.
Right.
And so helping people that have never used AI just start thinking about it, like, how would in all actuality is like, how would you talk to an assistant?
Right.
I need this for this, do this, buy this. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's the same thing. So when you put that in there, you wouldn't just tell your assistant like, "Hey, I need this."
Yeah.
Okay.
I need this thing.
Yeah, I need this thing. Okay.
All right.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coffee's ready then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I almost compare it to, one of the things I've always talked about with like teaching and coaching, right?
Yeah. It's very important.
It is giving clear and concise direction.
Clarity. Yeah.
And nothing clarifies that clarity.
Right.
You can use that one anytime you want.
I will.
I've used that. People, if I start to say it, people will finish it for me.
That's awesome.
That nothing clarifies that clarity.
Right.
And so, but it doesn't. It's true. And if I were to tell you to drive somewhere, I can't say, just go down the street.
Right. You give me an address how to get here. You know what I mean? So
I give you an address, then I can punch it in somewhere, and then it's going to give me direction on how to get here.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell me after I pass the street to turn left. It tells me before I get to the street to turn left.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It wasn't. So when I said, hey, you didn't say, oh, yeah, it's my podcast studio. I'm like, okay.
Right. Right. Thanks.
I would have. Yeah.
It's somewhere.
So
in
I'm
Macomb
streaming
County.
in then. Is that what we're
it's
saying?
somewhere in Macomb County.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm in Michigan.
Yeah.
Great. So are a lot of things.
Right. Right. Oh man. But
That's awesome.
It's so true. And so that's when we can dive into like the tools now that you've created.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that is, so like the AI is one piece, right? That just anybody can hop into ChatGPT, or what's the other ones, like whatever,
Gronk and all, Gemini, and
all the other things that are.
Is it Microsoft has Pilot or something?
Yeah, Copilot.
Yep.
Which are great. It is what it is. Like people, again, kind of like a CRM. People will say, "What CRM do you use?" I'm like, which one are you going to use? It's not like,
wait, what kind of car do you drive?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
like, which one do you think is the best? My thing is always whatever one you're going to use is going to be the best one.
Right. Are you going to use it though?
Correct.
Because again, if, is it limiting or are you limiting it?
Correct.
There is a balance,
Yes.
right? So that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot to them. And those have gotten more robust and more deep and
They have.
whether that's follow-up boss or whether that's, go high level or whether that's,
Mhm.
KV Core or what,
Yeah.
pick it out, HubSpot, whatever.
Yeah.
Pick them out. They all do fantastic things.
They do.
And again, I kind of relate it back to our phones, and I always go back to the phone thing. Like, we only use this to about probably 10% of its capacity.
It's almost like the theory of our brain. I think it's
Yeah,
like 10 to 15%. Mine's probably like 8.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a
0.8.
Yeah, I'm definitely single digits.
Yeah.
I'm definitely single digit. But again, like, so CRM, same thing. Like,
Yeah.
and AI, same thing. It's only gonna do what you're using it for.
Yes.
So that's kind of what you've kind of bridged that gap a little bit, though, right?
We try, and I think that in the effort of trying, we kind of, that's the aim is
Yeah.
like, what does success look like?
Yeah.
So it's called never stopping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's because as soon as you stop, it's like, okay, well, this is the system.
Right.
It's like, no, that's not good.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's advancements every day. I mean, this morning there was like 3 additions into our system. You know what I mean? We have a team. That's what they do. They're always looking to, and some are small or, just but they're not bug fixes. They're actually additions into the platform.
Yeah.
And so making those advancements and improvements daily, and then also getting feedback from, clients, that's important, right?
Right.
Because that's how you have your development roadmap, so to speak. So bridging that gap not only is, I think it's important. So one of the things about that, like our business and what we wanted to focus on was not just providing a system, right? Because if you provide a system, then it's still up to the user to use the system. So, and it's not, this isn't, a thing to say like, well, people just don't do it. You can look at it that way. That's a limiting belief.
Yeah.
Really, maybe I should internalize that. Say, wait a minute, this is what it is. So how can we really bridge the gap? So bridging the gap is providing, information, and then also providing a system, and then also providing resourcing. So for us, it's, here's the technology, here's the system, and then we're going to teach you how to use it.
Right.
Right. We're going to show you, we're going to get you on a series of success calls, and we're going to take you through so that you can become successful, continue to remain successful, utilizing the technology that's there and available to you. And we're going to empower you. And like, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time.
Right.
Right. How do you learn something? Well, one segment at a time. The great thing with us is we know exactly what segments to take you through. Right. So now, and we also learn your business. So when we learn your business, we learn about you and your goals. And then we kind of know like those KPIs, like what, like individuals that come to us that are focused on social media, right? And
Yep.
leads, we're not going to say, let's learn about reporting.
Right.
Now, reporting is important.
Yeah.
We'll get to that month 3.
Yeah.
Because right now it's like, okay, how can you post on 7 platforms inside of 15 minutes?
Right.
We're going to show you.
Yeah.
Ready? Let's do it. We're going to do it. We're going to send you the recording, but we're going to have you do it, right? With us. So no pressure. We're going to walk through this together. You can't break it. And if you do, we'll fix it. It's okay. You know what I mean? But, when we do those steps, it's like people learn like, wow, I can do it. Like, yeah, you can also do it from the mobile app.
Yeah.
You can also have it all right there. So now you can have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, Google Business, all that stuff connected, Pinterest, even whatever, and post to all those within minutes. You know what I mean?
Incredible.
And then individually do it, right? So, but it's learning that. And it's like, you don't, yeah, we have videos. Yeah, we have documents on this. We have 24/7 support, but it's not about that. Because if you just leave it there, it's then left up to the individual. So it's like we're providing a system, but we're also providing a coach in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And the whole goal of a coach is for not just accountability, but to encourage you. So everyone goes to the accountability side, right?
Right.
Business owners don't need to be accountable as much as we like to overemphasize that, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because, they're not going to stay in business very long if they're not accountable in some degree.
Right.
So it's already there. It already exists. It's called, income over expenses, right?
It's called profit and loss.
Yeah.
Right?
Where are we looking on that P&L, right? That's a big one, right? And so, but now taking that, so what it is that it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because as professionals in any business, like they got to be focused on revenue generating activity. So now when they're focused in that lane, it's like, let's help them, with be a tech partner almost, right?
Yeah.
Be that person that's going to provide that, ability for them to do it and then say, okay, now do you want to do it or do you want us to do it for you? Because we have that ability as well.
Sure.
But we're not going to take you down the path of saying, oh no, only we can do it. No, we're
Right.
going to show you and we're going to let you and teach you, and that way, and then actually have you do it. Right. As part of every part of the system for, contact, follow up, nurture, all that stuff. And then, social media, reputation management is huge. Having funnels, landing pages. You mentioned funnels. People are like, what is that? It's like, don't worry, we'll show you.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? But then,
or we're not going to show you. We're just going to do it.
yeah, exactly. But we're going to show you what we're doing. Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're not going to leave you in the dark. Right. But then, having all these contact points. Right. And so, I think that working with business owners, we have some of them that didn't even have their own website. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I was going to get a website, but it's like $5,000. I'm like, you don't need that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to put any web developers out, but you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
there's levels to it, right?
there's levels to it.
Yeah.
And so let's start, then grow into it.
Yeah.
Right. But let's get a domain name.
Yeah.
Right. Let's have a domain name, and then let's take it to, basically branding your email so that when you send it out, it's coming from that domain name. Right. And then let's take it to the next level of saying, now we have a landing page or a link tree or whatever.
Right.
But it's there and it's yours and you own it, your business. And then we put things into it like your calendar, like your forms, like your click to call, click to text, or close the window.
Yeah.
Right. That's really what a funnel's goal is, right?
Yeah,
Is to
yeah.
come right down the pipe. So people are like, what's the difference between a website? It's like, think of a funnel that's going one way in, one way out. That's it.
Yep.
What are the goals and the touch points? So providing that value to those business owners to say, we're going to set this up, and then that's where we're going to direct your flow, your clients to, right? So, taking your clients into one direction, right?
Yep.
And then you'll see the options that they have. We're going to provide a bunch of different options, and then making sure that your social media is lined up and in tune correctly, right? That's huge.
It's huge. Well, that's a big part of the funnel.
Yeah.
Right. Because again, and this is where I coach a lot of agents too on social media too, is be careful what you're putting out, because that's what you're going to attract.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because to go along with that, the event I was at yesterday, an individual on the panel said, when's the last time you've seen a resume?
Yeah.
Your social media is your resume.
Yeah.
People are going to search you, find you, you know what I mean? And decide like, hey, is this person's message concise
Yep.
with someone that I want to do business with?
Yep.
And then they brought up the 80-20, and we all know that, it's like, don't just,
Sure.
business, right? You should have a balance. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you got to put all your personal life out there, but let them know you're human,
Yeah.
right? Let them know, and then also have, I encourage people to, be like, oh, I have a personal Facebook and I made it into a professional page. And I'm like, yeah, great, but you should have a business page. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, because those two should be a little bit separate.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah. And again, it's so spot on. Because I get way more interaction on social media with my kids and my dog
yeah, same.
than I do with my face.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
if I post a picture of food, everyone's like 47 likes or
Yeah.
whatever, right? That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I share one thing about a professional, like, okay, maybe
Yeah,
a couple.
silent,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
yeah.
I think it's an algorithm, though.
Yeah.
It's the microphone, Jimmy. It's not
Right.
me. It's the microphone. I have a great singing voice. Okay.
And so all right. So what is let's talk about your business,
Okay.
specifically, because I want to hear this,
Okay.
because when you and I were talking the other day,
Yeah.
and we do have callers in on the Breakfast Club line. So
Oh, nice.
if anybody on the line wants to say anything, just star unmute yourself, say hello, and you can ask any questions on the line. Or if you have questions that are coming in on the thing, we'll get to those too. But it's connection, right? But
Yeah.
it's not connection like we normally spell it.
No, it's different. Yeah. we had to be a little different, right? We
Right,
had to be
right.
unique, as they like to say. So yeah, connection with an X, CONNEXTION. So we're your connection to clients. We help business owners scale and automate processes within their business, taking your clients from capture, nurture to close. That's a big focus for us with this platform, is working with individuals that are trying to scale or grow, automate processes, and attract more clients in 2025. And as we move on into 2026 and beyond, there's sometimes a plateau or a hurdle, right? And so providing that ability resource to them where that they can, have a tech partner and a system. Like we tell people I ask them, what did you do last year? Right?
Yeah.
What are your goals for this year? Typically it's 1.5 growth.
Okay. Got it.
Right.
Got it.
I did, 10. I want to do 15.
Got it.
Just using random numbers.
Sure.
I go, okay, how you gonna do that? There's only one of you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, how many hours did you work last? 60 hours a week, 40. Typically it's never 40, 50 or more, right?
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, so you work 80?
That's 50 is being light, right?
Yeah, you can work 90, you're gonna
Yeah.
work 100. So okay, well, and then they don't know. That's
Right.
okay.
That's okay.
I wouldn't know either. Right. I think it's important to identify those things because as business owners, I think we have to stay positive all the time. So by staying overly positive, we could not want to address the negative
Right.
or the important. Let's just call it the important, right? The part that's holding us back, the vulnerability. No, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And it's like, it does exist. So let's talk about it. So, working with business owners to say, okay, here, what are your goals? And then, if you set that bar at that new level, right, and you can't achieve that, you could feel, failed or unsuccessful, right?
Right.
And it's not you. That's the key. So realizing that it's not you. You didn't fail. You're not unsuccessful. You just don't have the right system.
Right.
You just don't have the right connection, right? And it's not the right connection unless it's your connection. And that's yourconnection.com. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'm pulling it up right now. That's what I was putting in. So
Yeah.
it's on the screen right now.
yeah,
It's YOUR
YOUR
CONNEXTION.com.
correct.com.
So I have it up on the screen right now. But for those of you that are on the call and those of you that are listening later, it's yourconnection.com.
Yeah. And again, so we're there to help scale and automate processes in your business. And we have a full suite of solutions that are tailored to your business. And that was the one thing I think we talked about the other day is so many systems and platforms, from my observation, being in business since 2008, it was always, hey, we have a system.
Yep.
Learn the system, conform your business to the system.
Yep.
And then everything will be okay. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have any time now.
Right.
Then I got to learn, and then I got to change. So
I don't have time now.
I don't have time now,
Yeah.
right? So
I do not have time now to do this, let alone you want me to learn a whole new system.
yeah, and then transform my processes to that system.
Right.
So wait a minute. The way I'm doing things, I can't keep there's nothing good about what I'm doing. And so that was a key takeaway for us is no, we're going to tailor it to your business. So on a discovery call, right? And then that's going to lead to a strategy call. Okay. Which is going to lead to, a success call, right? So we're going to go, discovery to strategy to success, right? That's what we're going to do. That's the roadmap right there. Because once we discover about your business, we are the tech partner. We know the technology.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where we specialize in. Everyone's like, you should niche down. I'm like, or I said, okay, I'll niche down to small businesses. You know what I mean? And here's why. Is everyone's like, you should pick a certain. I said, listen, here's the thing. If we do that, then we're going to start to think we know more than them.
Yes.
We have to stay accountable to ourselves. Okay. And how we do that is knowing the technology and learning your business every single time. Every single subscriber, we learn their business. I don't care if there's 14 of them in real estate, 15 of them in lending, or 500. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And then in construction, it doesn't matter to us. We're going to learn your business. It's all about you today. Right. And then we're going to take that. We're going to mesh it with the technology. We're going to say, okay, here's the strategy. That strategy could involve just organic. It could involve paid advertising, a solution to get leads, depending on what we discover in your discovery call.
Right.
Right. However, no matter what, we're going to have a strategy for you and it could just start off organic with what you currently are doing, automating those processes, figuring out what points we can take from whether it be document signing, appointment booking, nurture email, SMS campaigns, the whole 9 yards, right? All the automations done, the reminders, the updates, booking appointments, scheduling manual tasks and reminders and phone calls. I enjoy with our sales team. So I sat down with them the other day and shared this. Is like I had two potential prospects, right? And they're like, I don't know if we're ready yet, but we really love your follow up. I was like, you do know that's not me, right? You do know that that's the system that we believe in eating at our own restaurant. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
So when you get the follow up from me, it's not disingenuous. It's just the system. We have it set to follow up with prospects, with leads, with those types of things. So if you're impressed with that, just know that you could have that.
Yeah.
That's something that we want to do for you, right? So the same thing there. And then your reputation matters.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah.
Your online reputation matters so much. How do you get reviews? I mean, we have processes now that assist them with capturing reviews automatically through consistent requests, also QR codes, especially. So we sit down with individuals, and I'll just use this in real estate because we're on a real estate podcast, right? Is when's the best time to ask for a review?
So that's a big question. Right. It's a big question in real estate. So clients or agents will ask me that. When's the best time to ask for a review? A lot of people coach and train to closing.
Okay.
Right. At the closing, you're happy, you're closing, you're getting your house. Like, can you get it? Like, can you get it there? Some people say somewhere in the middle. Right. Somewhere in the middle. What's your thought on that?
That's a great question. And so my thought is to say, it depends on what you think the best time is, but the method needs to be there.
Right.
The low friction method has to be there.
Yeah.
So it's not going to say, hey, leave me a Google review. If I am not going to find you on Google.
No.
Okay. Yeah. I barely found my Facebook this morning. Okay. You know, as a client. So
as a client.
But let's take the hat off for a second.
Yeah.
So sometimes we can be too close.
Sure.
So we got to step back and we got to say, what is the low friction method? So it's not always timing, it's the method.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have on my phone right here that QR code.
Yep.
There, you scan that QR code, right? Now that goes to appointment booking. That's a separate thing. But
yeah,
you would have it go right to immediately to the 5 stars. Immediately. That's where it's going. They scan that, it pulls up 5 stars. Leave a review.
Yeah.
When we automate process, we say, hey, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, a 5 stars worth 5,000. We appreciate your feedback, but we also value your time. So if you don't have time to leave a comment, please just leave the stars. Right?
Yeah.
There's triggers that because people feel intimidated by leaving a review, like, I don't know what to say.
Right.
It's like we really just want the stars.
Right.
We really just want the stars for Google. Right. And so the ability to do that on a low friction method is very impactful. And we've seen individuals that have been in business for years. I'm talking years and have low reviews. I'm talking less than 10. And within 2 months, they tripled that.
Yeah.
Tripled that in 2 months just by this method.
Because again, when's the best time? Anytime's the best time.
Anytime is the best.
Right?
When's the best time to buy a house, Jimmy?
Right now.
Today.
Right. Today.
When was the next best time?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. So, but again, it's the same thing as we talk about with like asking for the business or what CRM do I use or whichever one you're going to use, but it's now is the time to use it. Right. So we did have a question come in that said, is it a one-time setup or is it a monthly consultation?
Both. So there is an implementation. There is a setup that is done with your business that's going to include the series of success calls, and then it is a monthly subscription.
Yeah. Yep. So, and again, like, so the thing that impressed me the other day was you were like, here, scan this.
Yeah.
So I scanned it. Well, then I got a text message.
Right.
And then what did you say the follow-up was going to be that?
So the follow-up is, and again, this is tailored. So
sure.
Mine waits 3 days and sends you another message. So tomorrow you're going to receive a message saying, Jimmy, it was great meeting you the other day. Love to learn about your business. Let's book a time that's convenient with your schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's just sales tactic, marketing tactic, because really it's my calendar.
Yeah.
So I'm updating my calendar with my availability, but you're being empowered as the client to pick a time that's convenient for you. So you're going to opt in to do so. The other thing is branding that link. It's going to come from link.yourconnection. We're not promoting other systems, okay? We're promoting your domain, okay? So that's a big focus with us is you're going to have your domain name. If you already have a domain name, it's called a subdomain. It's free. We do it for you, with you, okay?
Yeah.
But it's going to be Your calendar link comes from link.yourdomainname.com, or whatever your domain name is. And that helps your SEO. That helps your domain authority. Okay. When you start seeing 5,000 of those go out in a year, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be a form, a survey, a QR code, a calendar link, it's all branded to you, right? So that's another organic method to improve your business SEO right through the same system you're already paying for.
Man.
No additional charges, right?
Yeah. So it's both, right? Is it a one-time setup or is it a monthly consultation? It's one or it can be one or the other, but it's both.
No.
Right?
So it's a great question. So it's both. So what we do is we say, we have a one-time setup, okay, and then it's a monthly subscription, but at the same time, we don't believe in any contracts or commitments. We believe in earning your business every month.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's our commitment back to you. Is so the one-time setup you pay because we tailor that towards your business. Okay. And there's no comma in the setup. Okay. There's no comma in that setup. Sometimes people think there's a comma in the setup. Okay. There's no comma in the setup. Okay. And I'll share that in just a minute, but it's, and then there's a monthly subscription and there's no comma in that subscription.
Yeah.
Okay. And so again, we want to make this very cost-effective solution for business owners where almost it's like, wow, like if you were to hire an assistant, okay, that assistant is going to work 40 hours a week, right? 48 weeks a year, right? So you're going to get them for 1/3 of the day, 2/3 of the week. Okay, then and there's the human element. Now, and this is just for intake. Okay, so I say that because we have a virtual receptionist that we put into the system for you that's programmed to match your business. That virtual receptionist responds to communications, whether it be Facebook, Messenger, business Messenger, Instagram DM, text message, all centralized communication. So you have at your fingertips one central inbox, WhatsApp, all that stuff. All central inbox, right? And then ways to communicate with those clients effectively and efficiently 24/7. And then it's going to be set up to where it's set to book a call with you.
Yeah.
So as a realtor, you can ask qualifying questions, the virtual receptionist,
Yeah.
and then to book a call on your calendar.
Right.
It'll be an intro call, which then could lead to a consultation. That's just one method. Okay. And then, so that's one progress. But if you were to have someone just doing that, what would that cost you? If it was a relative, you're not getting by for $15 an hour these days, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Just saying.
And you mentioned it, and I'm gonna let you dive into it. But then there's the human element to it.
Yep. No one calls off sick.
I don't feel good today.
Yeah, no one does that.
Right.
People do that.
I'm going on vacation, or I just don't want to do this anymore.
Correct. Oh, well, so we live in a society that believes in advancement, which I agree with.
Sure.
Okay. So you spend time training an individual, and then all of a sudden they want to advance their career. How
Right.
dare they for our business?
Right.
Oh,
You can't leave me.
yeah, you can't do that. But it puts a strain on the business owner. So at the same time, here's what I'll say is bridging the gap is to say the remedial tasks, the data entry, all that stuff, because the individuals that we're hiring and for our business, we want them to be provide value to themselves as well. So encouraging them to go into revenue generating activities
Right
away.
Right.
You know what I mean? So believe it or not, people want to do that. So why not direct them down that path when we have a system and we have a solution that's going to utilize that effectively for their business, to where it's 24/7, it's set up correctly, it's done correctly, and then you can take it to the next step by doing the handoff to that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's totally fine. Let them take the intro calls. Let them do the first step appointments, or discovery call, or learn about you, or learn about the client, right? Set up the showing or the appointments. Okay.
Yeah.
And so advancing that. So again, honing that back in a full suite of solutions for their business, centralized inbox, calendar, email nurture, reputation management, social media management, all that stuff in there, and set ready to go with your pipelines, organizing that for every stage of the process, right? So, and then automating these steps in there is built out and tailored to their business. I mean, there's individuals that, might have a CRM that might have those solutions, but at the end of the day, providing that value back to them is going to bring them that turnkey solution where it's tailored to their business, and we have packages starting at $297 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. So $500 setup, $297 a month, I mean, it's gonna get you there. Now, if you want to talk about lead flow, like again, we shared this the other day. We have a solution for that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's really great. So as media buyers, we can help you on SCM, which is search engine marketing. That's not just Google anymore. It's Bing. It's also TikTok. People are searching on TikTok, which is another search engine marketing.
Yeah.
And then you got your social medias. You have your digital, anything digital, billboard, TV, radio. And so with TV being digital, and like Amazon Prime or Hulu, all that stuff having, no minimums, right? You can get local commercials.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, what's the call to action? I see commercials all the time. I'm like, where's your QR code?
Right.
Like,
people make fun of me because I put a QR code on everything.
Please do.
I put a QR code on everything.
Now, you need the QR code that we have that pre-fills that text.
Right.
Because when they send that text, that's an opt-in.
Yes.
And then now we can start messaging them back without having to say stop. Right. So the next piece is that how great would it be is if somebody landed on your website and we were able to get their information?
Yes.
How great would that be?
That would be pretty great.
How much would that be worth?
A lot.
Right. Would that have a comma in it?
A lot, except that, especially like when we're doing things like this.
Yeah.
Right. And I've got your website up here right now.
Mm-hmm.
So people are probably landing on it right now.
Hopefully they are. Yeah.
Or later.
We might be reaching out to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. FYI,
Yeah.
We might be reaching out to you.
We'll see how many discovery calls you get.
Yeah. Well, that's important. Well, I'm even saying that when a potential client or lead lands on your website, they don't even have to fill out a form. But we have a method that you can able to reach out to them.
Right.
And that could be through like print, which I think print is overlooked a little bit because print utilized effectively with dynamic QR codes. Like we have a system now to where you get unlimited postcards, pay for the postage. It's going to come with a dynamic QR code sent to that address. So when they scan it at that address, you know who scanned it, what address was scanned, and then you can follow up with that contact. Wow. And how impactful would that be?
How incredible is that?
To send out these postcards, but that know exactly where they came from and went to.
Right.
All done.
Right.
And that's just marketing, and that's just strategic marketing for your business.
And one of the things, like I got your website pulled up too, but one of the things, like you have a discovery call on there. And now that I'm wrapping my head around this too for a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a discovery call on ours for clients?
Right.
Like, about whether they're buying, selling, and like what is that? Why don't we have that on ours?
Well, and
I'm gonna go change my website.
We're changing lives on the podcast today.
Oh man, like so many things have just hit me in the face, like where I'm like, why don't we do that? Why don't we have a spot where a discovery call? Like, are you thinking about buying or selling? Now, whether somebody clicks on it or not, whatever, but at least that option is there.
Well, and that's another resource that we utilize effectively too, is our development team with basically 10xing the IDX feature that every realtor has, but utilizing that with, home valuations, providing them, and then opting in, home searches automatic, providing different resources to them that are built in ways to capture leads that go back to you. Your IDX page should be your domain name, not the IDX feed. That can be done. If it's not being done, please reach out. We want to help you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because again, it's all about sharing that content. We helped a lot of real estate agents, realtors that, now it's search.theirdomainname.com and it's the IDX feed.
Yeah.
And it works. And then single property websites, one click, and you're marketing your website with, the ability to schedule an open house. It goes, it's all integrated. It's done for you. Right.
Yeah. And we've only got about a minute left.
Ooh, okay.
Think about that. An hour goes by pretty quick, right?
It does.
So yourconnection.com, where can they find you social media wise, all that?
Oh, like me personally, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Justin Barton. So you'll see me on there. And then for connection, it's Your Connection. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. So we're all on every platform out there.
Yeah.
So Google
Your
Business.
Connection with an X. For those of you that are listening later, those of you who are watching it live or later, it's on the screen right now. So you go directly to the website and schedule a demo.
Yeah.
Right? Schedule a discovery call. Does it make sense for you?
Yeah. Scroll down. You're going to see some interactive menus on there about, like, again, if you're having, multiple systems, one for email marketing, one for your calendar, and they don't talk and communicate with each other, we want to help get you into one connection.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. what another Fast Friday.
It's been great.
Oh, man. Justin, I appreciate you coming in, my man.
Appreciate you.
Yourconnection.com with an X in the middle.
Yep. YOURCONNEXTION.com.
Oh, man, I love it. I love it. I appreciate the time, my friend.
Thank you,
We
sir.
are signing off KGCI Radio. Thank you guys for tuning in this morning and listening to us if we're on YouTube. If you're finding us later, go find yourconnection.com, schedule a discovery call with them, get some things straightened out for your business, and go from there. So
make it a great Friday.
That's it. Make it a great Friday. Guys, we'll see you next week on the Elite Real Estate Podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Nice.
It's just a test, and we're always in